And if the mother brand is a strong mother brand which the consumer connects with immediately, irrespective of what product it is, if there is a need for me, I trust the mother brand. Very. आपने आज सोच लिया, अगर आपने वो नोट डाउन नहीं किया, जॉट डाउन नहीं किया, अगर आप सीरियसली उस पर काम नहीं कर रहे हो, it will come out that you become a factory of ideas. And I've seen a lot of people who are like this, very creative guys. हर मंडे को नया आइडिया आता है, क्योंकि या हर ट्यूसडे को कुछ और सोचते हैं, मंडे को कुछ बोलेंगे, ट्यूसडे को बिल्कुल कुछ और बोलेंगे, वेडनेसडे को कुछ और. सो इसमें क्या होता है, आप the intellectual stimulation that you get when you discuss new ideas is great, but the fact is it doesn't take you in anywhere.
Hello everyone, welcome in the third episode of the Med Talk powered by Game of Pharma. Today we have with us Salil Kallianpur sir, man behind the digitalization in healthcare in the pharmaceutical industry. Sir is founder and MD of ARKS Consulting Knowledge Consulting Private Limited. Welcome on the show, sir.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Sir, the scope of digital marketing in India, sir, according to you, sir.
Well, the scope of digital marketing is huge, and not just in India but anywhere around the world. I think, to understand this well, I think you need to split the term digital and marketing to understand what it actually means, right? So let's take the term marketing first. Okay, so the definition of marketing as defined in textbooks is the engagement of customers and using that and conversion of that engagement into profitable relationships, right? So how a brand engages with customer or how a company engages with customers and builds profitable relationships with that engagement. That's what marketing means. Now, unfortunately, in our industry, we have missed out the fact that marketing is all about customers. It's about serving customers. And so therefore, we look at this mostly as a product demand creation activity. Right. So if you ask marketers anywhere, the first three or four answers will be about how to sell my product profitably, how to create a demand, how to be able to capture market share, and so on and so forth. They come to customers quite late in the whole deal. So I think the first thing that we need to remember is marketing is all about customers. It's about serving their needs and wants, and then building profitable relationships. So it's not that you do charity; it is about making profit also in the bargain. So that's marketing. Now, if you take marketing, then you have to define what the customer is or who the customer is. Okay. If our definition of customer is a doctor, then I think it is very narrow. Okay, because pharma is not in the industry of meeting doctors. Our business is not to meet doctors. Our business is essentially to help improve outcomes of disease, to reduce disease burden, to improve health outcomes of patients, and to serve them in a way that it makes their life more productive. Correct? So if we remember that, then our definition of our customers is slightly flawed. So we need to kind of redefine the customer. Why do we look at doctor as the customer? Because the doctor obviously has to prescribe. He's the gateway, and the pharma industry does not have permission to go and advertise directly to consumers. But there is a lot of other things that you can do as far as patients are concerned. Okay, the only thing is not to sell your brand, but the thing is to manage their disease. So can we create opportunities or can we create value at the patient level by helping them understand their disease better, helping them to manage their disease better, helping them to take their medicines in a compliant and adherent manner, and therefore have better outcomes and live happy lives, right? So if we look at it like that, patients also become an important part of our customer base. Then there are the roles of pharmacies, retailers, insurance companies, hospital administrators. All these people are stakeholders in the healthcare business, of which pharma is one. So if we redefine our business and look at it slightly more broadly than our business is only to make medicines, then we understand that there are many other customer segments who we are not serving currently. Okay. Then comes the question, how do we serve them? Because they are not just 5 lakh doctors or 4 lakh doctors or anything like that. They are in the crores, right? If you include patients, if you include families, if you include retailers, if you include a lot of other people, they go into the hundreds of thousands. They go into the lakhs or the crores, right? What is in the pharma current model, in the current business model of pharma, can we serve those customers profitably? Probably not, right? We have 3,000, 5,000 reps to meet those 4, 5 lakh doctors. If we have to meet 5 crore people, then our current business model does not suffice, right? And that is where the role of technology becomes important. Okay, so the role of technology is to be able to get you scale, right? So if you have to go from serving 50,000 customers to 500,000 customers to 5 crore customers, 50 million customers, you cannot do that in the current model by hiring more reps and so on and so forth, right? What you will have to do is to use technology to reach to all those people, right? So that is, in my opinion, the true role of digital marketing. So marketing comes first, which includes a definition of the customer, thinking about how to engage the customer and build profitable relationships, understanding that customers are not just doctors but a whole host of other people also, will make us realize that our current business model is not really up to the mark, and therefore the role of technology must be thought about. And therefore digital marketing is seen as a way, or a very effective way in which we can serve at scale. Okay, so if you ask me to define digital marketing and the role of digital marketing in India in one sentence, I will say the role of digital marketing is to serve customers at scale.
It seems like you have covered almost half of our next question in this question only. But so basically, we want to know what are the main perks of the digital marketing over the traditional marketing.
Yeah. So, like I said, if you think of digital marketing as serving at scale, it allows you to think about a whole host of boundaries. You can push them. So, at this point of time, if we think that our customers are only doctors, then we start to say that maybe there are only 10 or 12 lakh doctors in the whole country, right? So, if you take all kinds of doctors, there are about 12 lakh or 12 lakh 50,000 doctors in the whole country. Now, if I have to do 12 lakh 50,000 doctors, I will segment those doctors and say that about 5 or 6 lakh of those doctors are operating in metro towns or in tier 1, tier 2 towns or something of that sort. Maybe 4 lakh, 5 lakh doctors, one third of them, yeah, 30-35% of them.
One more aspect of this question is that हम कितना भी digital marketing तरफ shift हो जाए, is it possible कि we can completely depend on digital marketing, like traditional और digital को दोनों को balance करके like उनको coexist करना पड़ेगा? ऐसा तो नहीं है कि सर digital marketing, traditional marketing हमारी completely खत्म हो सकती है?
नहीं, it is not one or the other. It is both. Right, so therefore, it is never going to be that everybody will simply move out of what we are currently doing and simply start doing digital marketing. That doesn't work. Okay, so there will be another important thing that we have, or an advantage, a competitive advantage that pharma has when compared to other industries, is our ability to have one-on-one relationship with most of our customers. Okay, so our medical reps, our field colleagues, they know doctors well. They have established relationships with them. They are, in some cases, they are on first name basis with the doctor. The doctor calls them by first name, knows them very well, invites them home they have very good relationships with them. The same goes for other stakeholders like hospital administrators, pharmacies, retail chemists. All these people are well known to our person on the ground, right? Why would we want to give this up? Why would you give it up? This is an industry. This is one part of the industry which other industries don't have. Yeah, if you take telecommunications or tourism or any of those, they don't have a direct relationship with customers. So pharma has this very strong advantage, which I think is a competitive advantage. So there's no point in giving it up. But why are we thinking about getting digital into it? Why are we thinking about moving digital? Because we know that our commercial model at this point of time is slightly flawed. Okay, if you have gone out into the field, you guys are young, you probably haven't had much work experience, right? But if you go out into the field, you realize that doctors do not value the interaction with medical reps as much as they used to in the past, right? So one of the common challenges in pharma sales is that doctors are giving them lesser and lesser time. Now with the pandemic, physical proximity has become less, right? So you are not able to physically go to the doctor's clinic because the doctor will not allow you to come in. There are health requirements that are there, and so on. And so physical meetings are becoming lesser and lesser effective. So when physical meetings become lesser and lesser effective, what is the alternative there? That is an alternative where you have to have the ability to continue to have relationships with your customers, right? You need to meet them, you need to engage with them, you need to do something. So digital is always about rep plus. It is never about rep minus. So it's not a non-rep model that you will get out. Of course, there are use cases for non-reps also. For example, in territories where a rep does not exist, in the sense that you have not deployed a Salesforce person there, right? You want to expand your geographical reach. You want to expand to customer groups who are not currently being met by your field force. So there, digital can have a role, a non-rep role. But in the real space, where the bulk of the business comes from, the field force will always be will be the leading agent in managing that relationship. Okay, digital will always augment what the field force will do. So in the foreseeable future, we are not talking about a remote rep or a high or a complete non-rep or a digital rep model. What we are talking about is a hybrid model, a
Okay.
rep plus digital model.
Yes sir, but sir, जो पहले का टाइम था वहां पे जो एमआरस थे दे आर बिकमिंग ए लाइनअप फॉर द कंपनी एंड द डॉक्टर्स, but at the now situation company also engaging with the various activities on the digital media like on the LinkedIn, and the person is tagging the company and company is replying about the jobs, about the medicines supply, the other facilities also. So sir, how digital is created a lineup between the patients on the company?
So I think you're very observant. You've actually seen a very important trend that is emerging, right? And this is what social media is now doing, right? So social media is allowing consumers to interact directly with brands, and brands therefore have started to understand that that is also one of the routes through which you can establish a relationship directly with the end consumer. Now, in pharma marketing, there is a rule called the Drug and Cosmetic Act. Now, the Drug and Cosmetic Act does not allow pharma to advertise its brand names to people. So, just like Coca-Cola directly does advertisements or something like that, pharma brands cannot do this because the in the wisdom of the people who made the Drug and Cosmetic Act, they felt that self-medication can be harmful, right? So, if I reach out to a person and say कि रेमडेसिविर ले लो, कोविड हो गया आपको रेमडेसिविर ले लो, उसको नहीं पता रेमडेसिविर क्या है, तो but just because there is a lot of information coming on remdesivir, self medication becomes an important part. So there is a control on distribution. Okay, so here distribution is not, it's not available. Remdesivir is not available in local chemists. It's only available in the hospitals, which is under doctor supervision, right? So there is a lot of talk that is going on about remdesivir, but you cannot access it. You just can't go to a chemist and access it. Because you must have seen lots of WhatsApp messages going around asking about मुझे एक वायल चाहिए, मेरे को दिला दो, कहाँ मिलेगा, ये वो सब. So all those kind of, access was controlled. So in that case, but if you take that principle and go forward, then one wonders whether the Drug and Cosmetic Act is really relevant. Okay, because not only are medicines being talked about a lot on social media, there are also pharma marketing people who are putting up new product launches, announcing that they have launched this product, putting up the pack shot of the medicine. Okay, and these are not field colleagues. These are either senior marketing people or business unit heads or vice presidents, who are putting up this. And I see a lot of posts on LinkedIn and Facebook on my network. Okay, now this is essentially flouting the Drugs and Cosmetic Act, but it's not. So either you could see it as a violation of the act, or you could see it as a change in the way that marketing is going, the change that marketing is undergoing. So one way or the other, laws will either have to be updated or they will have to be remade. Okay, because the customer is not going to wait for the law, right? The customer just simply requires the brand or the product, and he will use whatever route or channel he has to interact with the brand and the company. So I think there has to be some tweaking or updating of the way that pharma and consumers are engaging in the long run.
So my next question is about digital campaigns. What are these campaigns and how are these digital campaigns influencing the customer behavior, influencing the market?
Not really. I don't think they are, because if one of the biggest worries in pharma marketing is that we live campaign to campaign. We think campaign to campaign. By definition, campaign is a short-term activity. Okay, something that you will do. It's a burst of marketing promotion which lasts either for a month, 2 months, or a quarter, or 2 quarters at best. Right? You will rarely see marketing campaigns which last for one full year and then go beyond that 1 year. Okay, those are very long term. They are not there. Those aren't called campaigns, right? Those are basically strategy on how you are essentially going to change customer behavior and all that. Campaigns are short term. So in the digital world, campaigns will not work unless you have very strong engagement and relationship with your customers, which pharma at this point of time really doesn't have. Okay. The most important part of a digital campaign is its relevance. Because what happens in the difference between physical and digital is that in the physical world, if you go and meet a doctor, even if the doctor doesn't want to meet you, he will make you wait for hours together. Either he will reject your call or he will make you wait for hours together, hoping that you will lose patience and walk away, right? But if you have perseverance and if you have some patience, and this is what reps are taught in sales, right? So stay there, be there. It might take an hour, it might take 2 hours, it might take 3 hours, but you stay there because the doctor is very important. You have to go and meet him. If he's a very big cardiologist or a very big specialist, somebody, he will have a lot of patients. So you have to wait until the patients are over and then go in. So once the doctor comes out and sees you there, he says, "Oh, you're still here. Okay, come. Let's, and give 30 seconds or 1 minute. Just tell me the names of your brands. Things like naam batao, dam batao." So people will just flip through the visual aid, give them 5 or 6. This one that doesn't create any engagement. It doesn't create any activity, right? Now the same customer, if he is receiving a digital input from you, an email, maybe an invite for a webinar or a video to watch or an infographic to read or any of this, there is no क्या बोलते हैं, obligation, right? When you are standing in the clinic physically in front of the doctor will say, अच्छा चलो यार ठीक है, तुम खड़े हो ना इतना यहाँ पे 3 घंटा, तुमको कॉल दे देता हूँ. डिजिटल पे ऐसा कोई ऑब्लिगेशन नहीं होता है. अगर आप ईमेल भेजते हो तो आई हैव नो ऑब्लिगेशन टू रीड योर ईमेल. द ओनस इज एंटायरली ऑन मी. आई विल रीड द ईमेल इफ इट इज important to me. So the crux of a digital message is about relevance. It's about context. Okay. The context is set by what? The context is set by the likes and the preferences of the doctor. If you are sending him information on a topic that he likes to read, he will open your email. Okay. Generally, now this requires a very different shift in the thinking of marketing, because what happens is marketers think only about products. So all the promotional material and the digital campaigns that I will create will be about how great my product is and how I outscore my competition. The doctor is not interested in that unless it is a new brand which he knows nothing about, right? But we are in a generic market, and so therefore there's very little in common between, very little difference between two brands in the same category other than price, right? So finally, your discussion is going to be on price. So this is not important for the doctor at all. That my product is available at 3 rupees or 3 rupees 50 paisa or something like that. That's a nice to know information. It's not a need to know information. What is need to know is how can I serve my customers better? How is this product going to help improve their outcomes? Will they live longer? Will their pain go away? Will they be cured of a particular infection or something like that? So unless you have data on the customer, unless you have done a lot of research on the customer, unless you've got a lot of customer insights, okay, you will not be able to create a campaign which will engage the doctor. Okay. So if engagement does not happen, then changing behavior is very far-fetched. So changing behavior happens if you are able to consistently engage customers over a period of time, right? And understand where they are on the adoption funnel. So are they at an unaware stage? Are they at an aware stage? Are they at a trialist stage? Are they at a user stage? Are they at a loyalist stage? Different doctors will be, customers are separated. They are not one homogeneous group which is in one area, right? So our messaging is how I will create a messaging on awareness, announcing my brand and send it to all the doctors. But only 10 doctors that message will be relevant only to 10 doctors out of the 1,000 or 10,000 that I have sent, right? And then the other 9,000 doctors will be saying that, yeah, I have already used this brand, so this message is not important for me. Ye kyun bhejta hai mere ko ye? Right? So you need to understand the context, in the sense that where is the doctor on which part of the adoption funnel? What is his belief? Okay, if you don't know his belief, how will you shift that belief? Okay, because if you make assumptions sitting in the office that I think this doctor is a trialist, you don't know that it may or may not happen, right? So like they say, a broken clock also tells the time correctly twice a day. Okay, so वो कभी-कभी तुक्के में लग जाता है, कि मैंने अज्यूम किया कि ये डॉक्टर है, और वो कभी कभी तुक्के में लग जाता है, एंड दैट गिव्स मी अ सेंस ऑफ फॉल्स सेटिस्फैक्शन दैट आई नो एवरीथिंग अबाउट माय कस्टमर. So we have to be careful, okay? And then digital marketing is all about context, it is all about content, and it's all about personalization, right? So you need to be able to use channels, you need to be able to use content in a way which is personalized, okay? That's why you see, Google is a $1.5 trillion company. Okay, Apple is a $2 trillion company. All these tech companies, deep tech companies, they are able to sell their products and they appeal to you in a very, very nice way. Okay, a simple thing to say is your Facebook feed, Salman, will be very different from Lokesh's Facebook feed. Or your Google things that you see, why does that happen? Because you guys have different interests. What is interesting you to you may not be interesting to him, right? There are studies that show that even identical twins will have very different feeds because their brains are wired in different way, right? They may look alike, but their brains are wired in different ways. So each customer has to be served at an individual level, right? So this is a next level of segmentation, which is basically n is equal to 1 segmentation, which is beyond the nano segmentation. So getting all those things right will be very dependent on whether your digital campaign will appeal to the customer, will engage the customer, and then we think about belief shifts or creating an impact on customers.
One more question I have related to this one. So ये so like brand किसी कंपनी को अपना प्रोडक्ट प्रमोट करने का जो थिंग है लाइक ब्रांड ओरिएंटेड या फिर प्रॉफिट ओरिएंटेड और या फिर सोशल टर्म्स में बात करें तो पेशेंट सेटिस्फैक्शन ओरिएंटेड. तो सर प्रैक्टिकली हम पेशेंट सेटिस्फैक्शन की तरफ में हमारे हमारे कंट्री में ही बात करें तो लाइक हम कितना पीछे हैं या एज अ सोशलिस्ट पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू आपको क्या लगता है कि मतलब वी शुड मूव इनटू दिस क्योंकि मोस्टली जो कंपनीज हैं वो आजकल बस ब्रांड एंड प्रॉफिट का ही लाइक देखती हैं कि मुझे कितना प्रॉफिट मिलेगा एज अ मार्केटर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू. तो हाउ मच वी आर
नहीं तो
लैकिंग इन दिस.
मेरे हिसाब से प्रॉफिट ओरिएंटेड रहना कोई बुरी बात नहीं है. Okay, because companies need to make a profit. If they don't make a profit, they cannot be viable. Okay, so
ऑब्वियसली
profit
नॉट.
orientation is very, yeah, it's a very important part of it. There's a difference between profit and profiteering. ओके, जहां मतलब ये महामारी चल रही है, इसमें आप दवाइयों को सस्ते दामों में बेचोगे या उसके ऊपर वुड यू इंक्रीज द प्राइस 300% 400% एंड मेक द मोस्ट ऑफ इट? दैट इज रॉन्ग, राइट? सो प्रॉफिटियरिंग इज डिफरेंट एंड प्रॉफिटिंग इज डिफरेंट. सो दैट्स द दिस वन. I think from your larger point on whether pharma companies should move towards patient engagement and patient satisfaction, I think yes, they should. Because at the end of the day, like we said, we describe marketing as being able to serve the customer in a profitable manner. So the customer is what's the reason for pharma to exist? The reason for pharma to exist is to improve the lives of the patients. Okay. Now, while our rules and regulations might stop us from engaging directly with them on in certain ways, I'm sure there are other ways in which we can definitely engage with them. So if you do unbranded interactions, you can do disease management programs. You can do a lot of dose-related, compliance-related activity with patients. Okay. So awareness creation is a very important part of patient engagement, because people need to be aware about certain medications, what they do, what are the side effects. Okay, when should you not use the medication? When can you use the medication? What you do if there is a side effect? All these kind of information. Doctors don't have the time to do this. Okay, and so therefore, pharma earlier used to do this very, very strongly. They used to believe that doing these kind of programs, especially for expensive medication, chronic therapy areas, etc., those kind of work that work used to happen. Over a period of time, we have started to think that everything other than getting a prescription is a cost. It's a waste of money. My only, because resources are limited, I am not going to get 100% more budget next year. I will have only that much budget, but I have to grow my business. So then I have to start thinking about how to allocate those resources wisely. And over a period of time, as my competition increases, my margins come under pressure. Price control brings my margins under pressure. So there is limited amount of money that I will also get to spend. Yeah, so I have to be fiscally also very prudent. I have to manage my money also very prudent. So therefore, over a period of time, marketers decided that serving patients was not as important as serving doctors, because prescriptions were the source of business. Right? The prescriptions were the source of business. Now, unfortunately, what we missed out is a very important concept called lifetime value. Okay, the same patient, if you treat that same patient as a human being, right, you realize that a human being has many needs and wants. It is not just medicine. Right? There are so many different things that you can create. And so therefore, if you look at it from a patient and serving a patient's perspective or a customer perspective or a human perspective, you keep that as broad, it becomes human. So अगर आप ह्यूमन बीइंग को सर्व कर रहे हो तो ह्यूमन बीइंग की जरूरतें बहुत ज्यादा हैं, सिर्फ दवाई नहीं होती. Correct. So then the understanding of different opportunities, different products that I can make, different services that I can make to serve that patient in a profitable manner. Give the patient what he wants or give the caregiver whatever he wants and still make a profit out of it. Correct. Those things are unfortunately not thought of. These are additional or alternate revenue streams which pharma has not thought of, because I think somewhere down the line we have become too myopic about our business model. We have become a slave to our business model. We define our business model as making medicines, making and selling medicines profitably. We don't define our model as helping customers or helping our patients live life better. Okay, so I think the human angle somewhere has gone away, and we have become more dependent on manufacturing and distribution as our core competence. That's I think the most important thing.
Yes, sir. Obviously, being a marketer, we have so many pressures also, like the competitiveness of the market, and so we have to make cheaper medicines and these things. So obviously, कहीं ना कहीं तो matter करता है, हम चाह के भी नहीं कर सकते, like.
सही बात.
तो आपने सब बहुत सही बात बोली अभी कि pharmaceutical company more want to more focusing on awareness. Or during this pandemic, the companies are organizing many webinars about the COVID-19, the management of COVID-19, the personal hygiene, and they helps the company to engaging with the patients and creating awareness. If we don't promote any medicine, हमें जो फोकस है वो करना चाहिए कि अवेयरनेस के ऊपर, कि इफ ताकि हम कस्टमर से बहुत सही से एंगेज हो सके. इफ वी डोंट क्रिएट ए ब्रांड फॉर द मेडिसिन, वी क्रिएट ब्रांड फॉर द कंपनी. If company having a good reputation in the market and having the knowledge base market, then it's good, sir.
Correct.
So yes.
So this brings me to one of my favorite examples of how pharma can manage customer engagement and patient relationship. I think you are aware of a company called Mankind, right? Mankind Pharma.
Yes, sir.
Mankind is one of the most successful pharma companies in India. Okay, during the first wave, May June last year, June data specifically, if I'm not mistaken, the pharma industry was declining by 9%. Okay, it was declined. The growth was down because of the lockdown and because supply chains were broken, and it was not possible for medicines to go from factory to pharmacy and all those kind of things. The pharma industry was declining by 9%. Mankind was the only company in the top five. Mankind is number 3. Right? It was the only company in the top 5 which was growing not at 1% or 2%, but at 13%. Okay, now how did this happen? How this happened was a combination of two different things. One is Mankind has done a lot of investment in promoting its corporate brand to the patient. Right? So you have seen a lot of ads with Amitabh Bachchan, with Sunny Leone, with so many other stars, and Mankind does a lot of such advertising about its products directly to patients. So the patient knows and recognizes the name Mankind Pharma. Okay, and when he goes to the chemist and he asks for a medication, okay, and he sees the chemist offers him a Mankind Pharma product, the guy is more than happy, the patient is more than happy to buy it, because there is a relationship already between Mankind as a corporation and the patient. Okay, so that is one point. Mankind spent a lot of money in creating awareness about its name, about itself.
Yeah.
with customers. Okay, customers don't recognize brands like Pfizer or Glaxo or Abbott or as much as they know Mankind. Okay, or Lupin or Sun Pharma. Of course, these brands are doing a lot of work now. Abbott has a very, very nice corporate campaign, where they are also promoting their name and so on and so forth. But I don't think it's as successful as Mankind is. Mankind is all over the place. You go to an airport, you will see large this ones. You can see advertisements on TV, you can see advertisements on social media. They've invested a lot of money in creating. So I think that has stood them in good stead. The other thing is creating opportunities to be able to advertise. So if I have very super specialty products like cancer, anti-diabetics, and anti-cardiology, anti-hypertensive, or plaque, stabilizers or something like that, just super specialty medicines, I do not have an opportunity to talk about it to the customers. So therefore, my portfolio has to be slightly diverse to include OTC brands, to include brands that are not coming under the Schedule H or the Schedule X or Schedule Y of the Drugs and Cosmetic Act, right? Because these are prescription mode only. But if I have a few medications or a few products in my this one, which is OTC, which is under Schedule K, or doesn't come under the schedule at all. If it's a classic, what do you call that? A calcium supplement or a nutritional supplement or any immunity booster or something of that sort, which is OTC, over the counter, then I have a lot of opportunity to advertise. So Mankind's portfolio is very strongly built on balancing between RX and OTC. So RX medicines they don't talk about, but OTC medicines they can happily talk about. So it's a master stroke. If you see strategy planning, this is exactly what it should be, right? I don't have massive brands. I'm not focusing on creating massive brands. What I'm doing is creating an engagement with the end consumer, so that whatever product I bring out, the mother brand, which is Mankind, is what appeals to the consumer. And if the mother brand is a strong mother brand which the consumer connects with immediately, irrespective of what product it is, if there is a need for me, I trust the mother brand. So if I need an iron supplement which is coming from Mankind, I will trust it, right? Versus somebody else where the doctor has to convince him, the chemist has to be, convincing him that this is a top class quality product, and this is the. There are other stakeholders who are marketing for you. But here, where you have a direct consumer connect, you don't need to do any marketing, right? So that's what happens when you have engaged people, when you have engaged customers, you don't need to sell. That drives your marketing costs down, and therefore your profits become higher again and again, right? So that is, I think, a great example of, to your question, Lokesh, on the importance for patient engagement, the importance for creating awareness about our brands and what we do as a company with the end consumers.